So, in the first video lesson, we discussed about financial accounting, definition, and advantages, disadvantages, branches of accounting, functions of accounting. So, you know very well, financial accounting is one of the course which is mandatory for all degree classes at undergraduate level. So that's why I started making video lessons right from first unit of Usman University syllabus. Today is the second video lesson. In this lesson, we are going to learn about principles, concepts, conventions, which are called generally accepted accounting principles and accounting standards in India. So first, I will start sharing the screen. So principles, concepts, conventions of accounting, which are known as GAPs. So I am N. Shyam Prasad of Government Degree College, Sangareddy. Today, in this video lesson, the learning outcomes are: what is GAP? What is the meaning of principles, concepts, conventions, and different types of accounting concepts, conventions, which are in accounting practice, and list of accounting standards. So let us first start the principles, concepts, conventions, GAPs. What do you mean by GAPs? So to achieve uniformity and avoid confusion in accounting process, these are all applied to conceptual framework, which are known as generally accepted accounting principles, popularly known as GAPs, GAAPS GAPs. So the term GAPs is used to describe rules developed by for the preparation of financial statements, and are all known as concepts, conventions, postulates, and principles. All these are the names which are used interchangeably. So GAPs means principles, concepts, conventions, postulates, or assumptions which are used in the accounting practice. So now we don't know what is concept. The meaning of concept is nothing but an idea or notion which has universal application. Whatever the idea, whatever the notion, whatever the view which we are having, which is universally applicable, is known as concepts. These concepts are basic assumptions and conditions on the basis of which financial statements are prepared. So financial statements are prepared based on some assumptions and conditions. The assumptions and conditions are part and parcel of concepts. These are all universally accepted concepts, and all the international bodies which are improving the discipline of accounting came into a consensus on these concepts and conventions. These concepts and conventions sometimes may be called principles. Principles are nothing but body of doctrines. That means rules and regulations commonly associated with the theory and practice, which are also called guidelines for selection of conventions. And what do you mean accounting conventions? Accounting conventions are customs or traditions emerge out of accounting practices. These terms, that is concepts, convention, principles, are used interchangeably in the accounting practice. So by this you have to know, what is that to know? The GAPs means the rules developed for the preparation of financial statements. The meaning of concept is concept means an idea or a notion or a view which has got universal application. And principles nothing but the body of doctrines or rules and regulations or guidelines which are being followed all over the world in accounting practice. Conventions are nothing but customs or traditions which have been followed by the accountants all over the world, known as accounting conventions. Now we are going to discuss one by one about the various accounting concepts. First, we have business entity concepts. In the concept, we have first business entity concept. So, business entity concept means business entity. So, according to business entity concept, there is separation and distinction between owner and the business. There is divorce between owner and business. Owner and business are separate and distinct from each other. When a owner set up a business with his own capital, with his own knowledge, with his own sweat, he is going to be divorced from the business which he has started. So all the books of accounts are recorded in the name of business, not in the name of the owner. So that's why, as there is a gap between owner and business, we see capital and drawings account, which are synonyms of owner's account in the business. Whatever the owner invests in the business is credited to capital account. Whatever the owner taken from the business is debited in the drawings account. That's why capital account and drawings accounts are alias names of owner account, and that's why sometimes people also confuse which type of account capital and drawings. Actually, capital and drawings account are personal accounts. So, but students sometimes confuse personal accounts means names of the person. This is also capital account and drawings account also name of a person who is nothing but owner. When he invests, capital account is created. When he takes away, drawings account is debited. That's why capital account and drawings accounts are called personal accounts. So because of business entity concept only, what happens, the assets and liabilities are equal. When assets and liabilities are equal, how a business, balance sheet should be tallied all over the world, whatever be the organization. When it is tallied, what happens? Assets equal liabilities means how can we say it's a very good business, very excellent business? How can we say? Because in liability side, there are two types of liability. There are internal liabilities and external liabilities. We have to see what are the internal liabilities. Capital or shareholders funds. Based on the amount of capital and the share of capital and shareholders funds, we determine whether the business is in very good position or in a poor position, we can say. Next, come to money measurement concept. According to this concept, all the transactions in books of account recorded in terms of money only. Whatever be the transaction, for example, we purchased 10 acres land. 10 acres will not be recorded. Only what is the amount paid for it. For example, 1 acre is 1 lakh. 10 acres, 10 lakhs will be recorded in the form of land, but not 10 acres. Whatever be the transaction, that is, for example, buildings means we have 20 rooms, or 20 rooms will not be recorded. Only the total value of the building will be considered. So that's why the efficiency of the employee is not recorded in books of accounts because efficiency cannot be measured in terms of money. So money, because of money measurement concept, the quality and efficiency cannot be recorded in the books of accounts. Next, come to going concern concept. According to this concept, the business is going to continue for indefinite life in the future. There is no death to a business as long as so when a owner starts a business, he thinks that no doubt the business is going to flourish in the near future, and it will be having a perpetual life. That's why the concern means business. Concern means a organization. So every organization is assumed to be a business which is having indefinite life. That's why the value in case of valuation of assets, assets are valued at the cost paid for it, but not the market value will not be considered, because market value is not realized. What are the costs we paid for it? Periodicity concept. According to this concept, the business is having indefinite life, you know very well about going concern conduct. Even though business is having indefinite life, we want to know the profits of the business in periodical regular intervals, so which is known as the accounting period. It is equal to 12 months or 1 year. So that means what you have to understand, the indefinite life of the business is divided into certain periodical intervals known as accounting period, which is 12 months or 1 year in India. And accrual or mercantile basis of accounting or accrual concept. So according to this concept, transactions are recognized as and when they occur and recorded in the books of that year only. So the occurrence of transaction is important. The receipt, according to accrual basis, the occurrence of transaction is important, not the receipt of cash is not. For example, when we sold 10,000 rupees worth of goods to B on credit basis, so we are going to record sales 10,000 as income, sales 10,000 as income. We won't consider cash basis. So in accrual concept, profit equal to revenue minus expenses. If you follow cash basis, profit means actual cash received minus actual cash paid. But in accrual concept, the revenue is recognized whenever there is a transaction is occurred. Next, matching concept. According to this concept, all the expenses matched with the revenue of that period. If, for example, already I told example, the 10,000 goods are sold, that is the revenue for that accounting period. That accounting period, so all the expenses with relate to the sales of 10,000 will be taken as expenses, whether the expenses paid in cash or not. So why to match all the incomes, all the revenues with the relative expenses of that accounting period. So by this matching period also, once again accrual concept is considered. Cost concept. So here in the according to cost concept, every transaction is recorded for the expenses paid for it. For example, if an asset is purchased, that is recorded on historical basis, that means cost of acquisition is considered. So when in 1 acre is 1 acre land is purchased for 1 lakh, that 1 lakh is recorded as cost paid for it. Even though in the first year or second year or third year, the value of the land increases to 2 lakhs or 3 lakhs, will not be considered, because market value will not be considered in cost concept. Only the amount paid for it will be considered. Realization concept. Any change in the value of the asset is recorded only when the business realizes it. So by realization concept, already I given one example. When goods are sold to D for 10,000, where already income is arrived at 10,000. So 10,000 is recorded. So here we won't consider whether cash is received or not. Next, very important concept of accounting is the dual aspect concept. According to this concept, every transaction has two aspects. Every transaction has got two aspects. One is debit aspect, another is credit aspect. So if one transaction is over, that is going to affect two accounts. If one account is debited, another account is credited. Debit signifies a receiving aspect of an account. Credit signifies a giving aspect of an account. That's why in a double entry system, dual aspect concept paved way to double entry system of accounting already, which we discussed in the first class. That is about which is enunciated by Father Luca Fazioli, who is known as father of accounting. You know very well. So every debit has got equal, corresponding, and opposite credit. That is the debit equal to credit. So assets equal to liabilities. The liabilities already we discussed earlier. Liabilities are two types: internal liabilities and external liabilities. Internal liabilities are nothing but the liabilities with reference to shareholders funds are the amount of investment made by the owner, that is capital, profit and loss account, equity share capital is considered internal liabilities. Internal liability is simply known as capital. External liabilities means which we borrowed from financial institutions, which we borrowed from banks, which we borrowed from other than from others, which are known as liabilities. So liabilities are two: capital plus liability. Capital means internal liability, and liabilities means outsiders liabilities. So if by this assets equal to capital plus liabilities, if you know mathematics, put capital there. If you take liabilities from left hand side, liabilities will minus. So capital equal to assets minus liabilities. This is accounting equation. So accounting equation is very important for BCom people. They have to remember capital equal to assets minus liabilities. So C equal to A minus L. So that's why the debit equal to credit, balance sheet, tally. All these are very important, considered as important for BCom people. So when debit equal to credit, everything no doubt. If you know two transactions of two aspects of a transaction, obviously it is going to become debit equal to credit, and assets equal to liabilities, and capital equal to assets minus liabilities. C equal to A minus L is called accounting equation, which is very important. So dual aspect concept, the first enunciated by Father Luca Facioli in 1494. He wrote a book on arithmetics, geometrics, and proportions in 1494 in Italy, Venice. Actually, he is a mathematician, but he is the first person who enunciated the debiture and crediture as two important aspects of a transaction. The debiture and crediture later became debit and credit. So that's why you have to remember dual aspect concept goes back to Walter Luca Facioli, who is father of accounting. Then various accounting conventions. So conventions, convention means very well, that is nothing but convention, nothing but the customer tradition, which is being followed by the accountants all over the world. They are called conventions, the customs and traditions which are normally being followed by all these are called so now we discuss the conservatism, that is the concept of conservatism, conservatism, and full disclosure, and materiality. All these we are going to discuss now. Let us start discussing about sharing various accounting conventions. So various accounting conventions, there are four main accounting conventions. It is conservatism. Conservatism playing it safe, playing this safe game. So according to this convention, we should provide for possible losses, but we cannot anticipate future profits. So for example, we may make some provision with reference to bad debts, provision for bad debts, but we cannot make provision for profit on creditors, like that we cannot make. So whenever there is cost price or market price is there, whichever lower is recorded, that means lowest will be recorded. That means we are playing a safe game. So market price is anyway, market price is sometimes more than the cost price. That's why, as we want to record by cost concept, the lower will be recorded. That is nothing but playing the safe game. So according to conservatism concept, we may provide for future losses, but we cannot anticipate future profits. That means we should be in safe side. Consistency. So accounting policies should be consistent, should be fixed from one period to another period, only to achieve comparability. If you want to compare, so if in 1 year if you use straight line method depreciation, in the second year if you use written down value method depreciation, then the comparability will not be good. So because that's why we have to in following accounting policies, we have to be very consistent. We should not change accounting policies from 1 year to another year. Next, convention of full disclosure. So information considered potential important and relevant must be revealed at least as footnote in the financial statements. Whatever the information which is a significant economic effect on the company will be recorded, will be shown, fully revealed to the shareholders in the form of financial statements. For example, if there is a writ petition against our company uh, in the court, if we defeated in that writ petition economically, sometimes we may forego money. That's why what happens. So it should be recorded as a footnote. So they a suit for 10 lakhs worth is against company in the court. That should be mentioned as footnote. So whatever be the material information which is going to affect the company should be revealed. And materiality and full disclosure. These are the materiality concept is uh, is an exception to the convention of full disclosure. Every significant transaction is to be recorded in the books of accounts. Will be sure. At the same time, all small transactions which may not be having relevant effect need not be recorded, need not be disclosed. So significant, if every significant economic effect on business should be disclosed, should be recorded, and at the same time insignificant item need not be disclosed. That is nothing but this materiality convention is exception to the full disclosure. So we disclose every material matter which is going to affect the company, and we need not disclose the small aspects which does not affect the business. The conventions being followed by the accountants all over the world. Now we are going to discuss about accounting standards. Accounting standards are selected set of accounting policies or guidelines issued by expert accounting bodies in their respective countries. In India, the accounting body which is contributing for accounting profession is Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, is the apex body in issuing accounting standards in India. So now we have a very good number of accounting standards which are being followed by our accountants in India. And from time to time, every year, the ICAI, Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, which is premier institute, which is developed the accounting profession in India, is giving some accounting standards in India. We are going to see what are the accounting standards. Once again, I will share. Already we discussed all these things. So last we are going to start about so the first this is the list of Indian accounting standards from Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, the first Indian accounting standard. All these Indian accounting standards are based on international accounting standards. So our ICI is part and parcel of international accounting bodies. It is going to develop the Indian accounting standards with the reference to international accounting standards. The first IAS one is disclosure of accounting policies. Just now we discussed about this convention of full disclosure. So in IAS 1 also giving because the companies are making so many frauds, that's why disclosure of accounting policy is very important. Every company has to disclose the material fact about the company in the financial statements. So every significant transaction which is going to have economic effect on the business should be shown at least as footnote. If that is not shown, shareholders sometimes may not know what is the actual financial position of the business. The second IAS is the valuation of inventories. In case of manufacturing companies, in case of production companies, valuation of inventory is very, very important. There are so many methods of valuation, FIFO method and a LIFO method. There are so many in that valuation, in the valuation of inventories, particularly the cost price or market price, whichever lower is taken in valuation of inventories. So all the rules and regulations regarding valuation of inventories, particularly for production and manufacturing companies, discussed in Indian Accounting Standard 2. Next, IAS 3 is about cash flow statement. Cash flow statement. So even though every company is showing huge amounts of money in the form of net profit, but we don't know what is the actual profit of the business. So by cash flow statement is going to reveal what is cash profit of the business, and at the same time what are the applications, what are the sources of funds. So what is actual funds received during the year, what is the how the funds are utilized is going to be known by the cash flow statement. This is about IAS 3. Next, IAS 4 is about contingencies and events occurring after balance sheet, dates. What are the contents? So if any event is going to affect the organization which is not yet decided, is called contingent event or contingent activity. So for example, a court case for 1 crore in an organization pending is called contingent. For example, a company which is having 1 crore court case pending, if 1 crore is paid, so their economic condition is going to deteriorate. So it is going to ruin away their funds. That's why that contingencies or events are to be recorded. Already we discussed about IAS 1. Everything should be disclosed. This is also. Next, IAS 5 is about net profit or loss for the period prior to organization. For example, before commencement of the organization, there may be some activities, there may be some business may be going on. The business when started, it is going to have so many other aspects. In that they are going to realize some profits or losses. The realization of profits and losses prior to the commencement of business is recorded in IAS 5. And IAS 6 is about depreciation accounting. So the fixed assets are to be depreciated every year. The depreciation, the methods of depreciation like straight line method, written down value method, next annuity method. All these are then significant methods. Different methods are there. So IAS 6, Indian Accounting Standard 6, is going to discuss about depreciation accounting. And IAS 7 is about construction contracts. So there are construction companies, you know very well nowadays in India, real estate companies are doing well, a very good business. So construction, that is the construction also hugely having impact on the economy. So the construction contracts have to be followed IAS 7. And accounting for research and development. Without research and development, there will not be any future growth for any business or any company. That's why particularly the pharma companies are going to invest huge amounts of money in research and development. When huge amounts of money is invested by different organizations, different companies on research and development, how it is to be, what is the impact, and how the accounting is to be considered, whether it is fixed expense, whether it is variable expense, whether it is research and development expenses is taken as expenditure or asset. All these are discussed in IAS 8. Then IAS 9, revenue recognition. This is one of the concept. In India, revenue is recognized as and when the transaction is over, as and when the transaction is happened, not cash realized. So according to IAS 9, revenue is recognized as and when the transaction is over, not whether cash received or not. This is about revenue recognition concept. Next, accounting for fixed assets. Accounting for fixed assets. So the assets which are held by the business not for resale, fixed assets having three important so the assets which are held not for resale, the assets which are having a long term impact, and third one, the assets which are used in the business are known as fixed assets. The accounting for fixed assets are discussed in the Indian Accounting Standard 9. Then we have foreign exchange. Now the India became a global partner. So a very good number of Indian companies will became multinational companies. You know very well, Reliance Industries Limited is a multinational company. Infosys became multinational company, and which is almost all working in so many. So Reliance Industries working in almost all 48 to 50 countries. So our company, our Indian companies became multinational companies. Then what is the effect of changes in foreign exchange, also very, very important. These are discussed in Indian Accounting Standard 11. Accounting for government grants. Nowadays, government also supporting different companies which are setting up their business in India. So to increase foreign direct investments, the government is giving grants, the government is giving so many subsidies to the companies. All these are discussed in Indian Accounting Standard 12. Okay, accounting for investments. How so? What are the different types of investments? Investment in shares, investment in debentures, investment in uh, portfolios, investment in mutual funds. All these are discussed in Indian Accounting Standard 13. Next, accounting for amalgamations. Because of huge competition nowadays, amalgamation is the need of the hour. How two or more companies becoming together one company. All these are discussed in amalgamation, absorption, reconstruction. All these are discussed in the IAS, that Indian Accounting Standard 14. Next, employee benefits discussed in 15. So every company is getting huge amount of profits based on the performance of employees. So when the performance employees is very efficient, they are going to produce very qualitative, sophisticated products. That's why the companies are earning a huge amounts of money. That is discussed in Indian Accounting Standard 15. Next, borrowing costs. Borrowing costs, you know very well that nothing but interest is nothing but the borrowing costs. Not only this, there are so many borrowing costs are there, because every company is borrowing money from different financial institutions, different banks, different foreign banks also. That's why we have to discuss about borrowing costs in Indian Accounting Standard 16. Next, segment reporting. That is reporting of different businesses, different segments of it. Nowadays, every business is divided into different segments. All these are recorded in IAS 7. And related party disclosures and the leases are discussed in Accounting Standard 19. Earning per share is very, very important factor which is going to influence all stock exchange mechanism. So earning per share, that is what is the earning per share of a company with reference to equity shareholders, discussed in IAS 20. Next, consolidated financial statements. Every company it is a statutory. This is which is statutory convention, and which is mandatory to publish their financial consolidated financial statements at the end of every financial year. That is discussed how that financial statements are going to given the formats. Everything is discussed in IAS 21. Accounting for taxes on income. So taxes is one of the important income of every government. The living tax, all these are discussed in Indian accounting standards 22. So accounting for investments in associated companies. So now one company becoming holding company, and it is setting up so many subsidiary companies. All these are discussed in Indian accounting standard 23. Next, discontinuing operations. If a company is coming going to an end, so how the company is wind up, all these are discussed in the accounting standard 24, that is discontinuing operations. Interim financial reporting. Nowadays every company is giving some interim dividends, and at the same time they are giving financial reports within the two accounting period, in between two accounting period, that is discussed in 25. The intangible assets are discussed at 26. So they're nothing but the assets which cannot be seen, which have value, are called intangible assets, like goodwill, patents, trademarks, that is intellectual property rights. They are discussed in Indian accounting standard 26. Next, financial reporting of interest in joint venture, discussed in Indian accounting standards 27. So now this is about concepts, conventions, and accounting standards. By this course, you are learned about you learned about principles, concepts, conventions, and accounting standards. Thank you very much.